Welcome, everybody. Good to see you guys, all y'all beautiful faces. Can you guys hear me loud and clear?
Sure can.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Welcome in, everyone. We got some new people on. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. And we got some people coming in. Just give it a couple of minutes. We got some really special announcements and some special guests. I know it's just been so many special things every day since we started. Today's day 11. And so I just want to welcome you all in. Thank you for being here. Um, as always, would love to know where you guys are coming in from, where you're calling in from. So just quickly, if you could in the chat box, drop where you're calling in from. We're here in Davao City, Philippines. Beautiful place. Boise, Idaho, in the house. Welcome, Boise. Sweden. Seems like Sweden's here on the call every single time. Thank you for being here. Mexico, Hong Kong. Okay, Hong Kong in the house. Lisbon, North Cal, San Diego. And if you're in on Facebook or LinkedIn, would love to know where you guys are calling in from as well. Staten Island, Vancouver, Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico, Zoom. Okay, I don't know what planet that's from, but okay. Rich. I don't know. Rich. I'm not sure what that's got some people coming in. Awesome. So looks like we got some new people coming in. And usually we start off the calls with a really amazing song. It's usually this guy with a really big beard just playing a really, really cool song. And so you guys are in for a awesome surprise. We actually have Mr. Tim Steinrich on the call, and he's actually going to be playing his song, which is actually going to the Grammys, and I'll let him tell you a little bit more about that. He's going to be playing it live for you guys today. So, Mr. Tim, are you on the call?
I'm right here, Sam. I'm right here.
Awesome. So, I'm just going to let you do your magic, and I'm going to mute myself so we can hear your beautiful voice.
Thank you. Thank you. So great to be here, everybody, and good morning from Vancouver, Canada. Um, yeah, I just want to. This song, I guess, it has been played at all of your meetings for the last 11 or last 10 meetings, and so it's an honor to be here in person to do it. It's something I wrote one day after I took the process with Don.
We can't hear you. We can't hear it actually.
You can't hear me at all?
No.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes, we can hear your voice, but not the guitar.
Okay, I'll play the guitar a little harder. Can you hear it now?
Yes, a little bit
Okay.
better.
When I look in the mirror, there's a man that I see who's been searching a lifetime for a way to be free, never blowing the darkness that was following me like a mutating virus, one that I couldn't see. And I breathe you in, and I beg again. I can see the end. Here I am now. I transcend. I want you to know I see you fire and I'm letting go. Oh, you're everywhere in my everything. I don't need you now. I was searching for answers. They were there all the time. but I just couldn't see them. In my heart, I was blind. I believed in your story. Now I know it wasn't true. And I see who I am now. And I know what to do. And I'm free. Yeah. And I start again. I want you to know I see who you are, and I'm letting go. You everywhere, in my everything. I don't need you now. Just turn around and go. I can't do this anymore. I want you to know I see you are, and I'm letting go. You're everywhere, in my everything. I don't need you now. Oh, I want you to know that I let you go. So as I said, I wrote that song about 24 hours after taking Dawn's I Am Divinity process. In that process, something very miraculous happened. I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on personal development. I'm a coach myself, but on December 31st, 2020, I took the process with Don, and he found one small piece that was still missing that needed to be removed. And he, in his beautiful process, surgically removed that thing. And what that thing was I grew up in a very religious background, and I had at some point really questioned religion. And at some point, I just decided that I guess I was evil because I was questioning things. And that was a piece that I've held on to my entire life until that day. Since he's removed that, my career, I'm a musician, I'm a songwriter, I'm a music producer. Um, Everything has just has been this amazing trajectory since that moment 4 years ago. And I now have a very vibrant business. I've just won a bunch of awards with my music. This song that you just heard, I'm taking it to the Grammys this year. Um, I've got a reality TV show. I've got a record company now. I've got a media company. Everything that I need to really bring my message to the world, I now have. And I have to say, it all comes back to that one point of Don really helping me to release my ego. So that song, Letting You Go, is the moment when I realized I could let go of my ego. I didn't need my ego anymore. And from that point, success, abundance, all of those things are possible every single day in my life. So it's just such an honor to be here in this meeting. And I'm looking forward to hearing what everybody has going on here, especially all you here at Income Nation. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful meeting.
Give it up for Mr. Tim Steinrich. That was amazing. I know we couldn't hear it fully, but next time we'll be able to get the full experience. It was magical, regardless. And that story was just amazing just to hear about how it was that one little piece that was keeping you from really everything that was already yours. So thank you so much, Tim, for showing up today. Um, if you were moved by that story, drop a 111 in the chat. You got a couple of people still in the waiting room.
Okay, let me do sleeper's job.
Awesome. Yes. Super powerful. And it's just the song is just so deep, regardless of, you know, I don't know, just even before you explained it, I could feel how much depth was in that song. And so it goes back into really what I want to talk about today. And it's, the last couple of days, you guys got to hear from Mr. Don Smith himself. And one of the biggest takeaways that myself and Jamie and the whole team have actually gotten was that divinity is number one. And what we realized, oh, and if you want to check out Tim, he dropped his website in the chat. But yeah, like I was saying, divinity is number one. And I told you guys yesterday that there's only ever two choices. The first choice is the God choice, and the second one is the choice of the ego. And so we had to make another executive decision to do something completely, I would say, not really. I mean, it was a choice that we had to make. It was the God choice. And so before I tell you the special announcement, I'm sure you guys have got the email saying that we got some special news. I'm actually going to let Jamie tell you that announcement because it's only fitting. But I'm going to share with you my personal testimony of what the I Am Divinity process did for me. So you've probably heard from me say this a couple of times, just like Tim. So I've been in the industry of network marketing, direct sales, affiliate marketing. I was in e-commerce. Right now I have a corporate leasing company. I've done like all of these different businesses. I did the Forex as well. And personal development was so pushed. And I had invested hundreds of thousands of dollars on the seminars, the workshops, the plant medicine. I mean, the plants with the drugs in them. And then like the whatever, like literally anything that you can think of, just went all in. The breath work, the energy work, like everything. I was basically looking for something outside of myself, right? I just kept on looking for those things, investing money, looking, searching, all of that. And the reason why is because I knew I was messed up, right? Like I had gone through tons of abuse.
Thought you were.
And I thought I was like the ego was telling me that I was messed up, right? So, and the reason why is I'll be very, very vulnerable. Is like I went through tons of abuse with my father. Was abused for my whole life, and near-death experiences. Almost died a couple of times by him, but we're really cool now, anyways. But there was a lot that was going on, and I knew that I had to do something about it. And so I was going down this path, and no matter how much I did, there was still like this void. And there's always this level of, oh, I got to do more. I have to prove myself. I'll be worthy after I get the car, after I get the girl, after I get the title, after I get the so and so and so, after I get a little bit more money in my piggy bank, right? So what happened was Jamie, I had known him like online on Instagram and Facebook. We had been a part of actually several different companies together. We were sidelines always. We never worked together. And it was about, I don't know how long it's been now. It's like time's non-existent at this point. But Jamie messaged me and he's like, "Hey man, you need to talk to my mentor." He didn't really say much, but I did see him online and I just saw this shift in him. He's like always smiling. I'm like, this dude has the biggest smile and is like has this light like just radiating from him. And I'm like, okay, like I don't really need much more. Like I could see the shift. Like he was kind of always like that, but like when he hit me up, I think maybe like a couple days before just seen him on like an Instagram video, and he's just like there was something profound that happened to him. And I was like, sure, like, I would love to, I'm open. I would love to talk to him. So I talked to Don, and at the time I was actually married. And I didn't know it at the time, but the woman I was married to, I mean, she had narcissistic personality disorder. I was also getting abused at the time physically. Um, there was times where she pulled out a knife on me. She one time threw a boiling pot of water. So, and I thought I was the problem the entire time. I was taking on all that guilt, all of that. And I just stayed in the relationship because I thought I had to make it work because that's what I was supposed to do, right? I grew up in a very religious household as well. And it's like, quitting, divorce, that's all like, it's not an option. And so I did the session with Don, and we traced it all the way back to when I was actually 3 months of age. And so, the process with Don is not logical at all. Because if I were to tell you, hey, I remembered a memory when I was 3 months, some of you are like, dude, I don't even remember what I ate last week. How are you remembering something at 3 months of age? But the memory is, the subconscious mind reports everything. And so he and I trace it all the way back to 3 months of age. What I saw was basically me as a baby. I was an infant. And I saw my father actually, like, I started crying, and my dad, he basically hit me at 3 months of age. And so after that, it dissolved like in an instant. And I realized that that one moment in time was connected to all of the other moments, the near death experiences, the abuse, me choosing the partner, all of that was connected to that one moment in time. And in an instant, I was able to let go of that. Right. I had been dealing with that for 30 years. Some of you are probably been dealing with this for longer, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, and you've probably been asking for help. And so I share this with you not for sympathy, because I'm so past that, and I'm amazed. I feel better than ever. There's nothing that I've ever done that has given me the level of bliss that I feel today. So I share that with you because this process is so profound. And what we realize as a company, or as I should say, as a community, because we're not a business, we're here to really impact the world, to impact humanity, is that divinity comes number one. Why? Because everything else, like you just heard him say, after he did the process with Don, now he has all of the record companies. He's getting the song good to go to the Grammys. All of that stuff happened as a byproduct, right? So you coming in for the income and the money and all that stuff, it's not a bad thing. But the thing is on a deep subconscious level, what you're actually looking for is the freedom to be authentically you, to be the true you that you've always been searching for. The money, that's a byproduct, that comes second. And so I just want to say thank you to Mr. Jamie. If it wasn't for his courage to step out of something, to step into the unknown, and to take that process with Don, I wouldn't be here, and a lot of you wouldn't be here. So without further ado, I'd just love to bring on our CEO, Mr. Jamie Devine. Love you, brother.
I love you, bud. Hey, Tim.
Jamie, how are you? Good to see you, man.
Only you and a few others will know that I am ineffable.
Yes, you are.
Great.
Likewise, my friend, likewise.
I see that. Amazing. Thank you for being here, and congratulations. Kudos on how everything's unraveled since we met a few years ago. It's so awesome, man.
Likewise, my friend.
Thank you. So, wow, you're still here. 10 days later, get nothing but the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Again, I just want to, hi, Cindy. I just want to commend you for being here and going through this journey with us and receiving all this truth and listen to all these stories that intellectually make absolutely no sense. If you're attempting to get there logically, good luck. Throw that book away. It's not going to work. So let me share my story of how this all unfolded, and I trust that you will be able to relate. So I grew up in a very toxic home. My father passed away when I was 2 to a drug overdose, just to give you an idea of how chaotic things were. And the stepdad was no better. The only difference was I wasn't technically his child, where my real dad I was. So there was some heart there. But with the stepdad, it was all kinds of abuse. When I went through Don's program, and mind you, I had done every personal development program you could think of, every religion you could think of, every spiritual, as Sam said, plant drug, shaman ceremonies. I mean, man, I was searching. And when I first worked with Don, he brought me to a moment that unconsciously I had forgot about. There was actually two. So the first one was when I was 8 years old, my mother decided to send me away with my uncle. Unbeknownst to her, he was an alcoholic, drug addict, party addict, sex addict, all the addicts. And so here I was, 8, 9 years old, raising myself. My uncle was only 28 at the time, and I rarely saw him because he was passed out from last night's bender. And so this deep-rooted pain of never being good enough, that's what got me on the journey of personal development. My mom gave me Rich Dad, Poor Dad when I was 13, 12, 13. And I remember reading that and now looking back thinking, okay, this is what mom wants for me. If I can be rich, then she will love me. Then I will be good enough. And so I proceeded to follow that book to a T. Robert Kiyosaki said, school, not necessary. That's the path of the poor dad. What do you want to do if you want to go on the path of the rich dad? Sales. Okay. I dropped out of high school. I got into sales at 13, dropped out of high school at 16. And by 22-ish, just 1 year alone in that when I was 22, had $1 million year. And that's when I thought, for sure, I'm gonna be good enough to get all that love and get all that everything that I was looking for my whole life. As they say, looking for love in all the wrong places. And sure enough, all I wanted was my mom to be proud of me. And she was. This is no fault to her, as she grew up in a very similar environment. She grew up without her dad. She never met her dad until she was in her 40s. And the very next year, he passed to drug overdose. And then my mom's mom, she was kicked out of her home at 16 because she got pregnant. And that was like venial sin. You're going to hell. So just imagine that guilt and shame throughout my entire family and all these toxic patterns that stemmed from that not being good enough. I'm telling you, no matter how much money I made, no how many programs I did, that never went away. Until I met Don Smith. And he showed me that I created all of that toxicity in 1 second. In 1 second. So he showed me how I did it. So I was able to reverse it in 1 second. After decades of searching and finding nothing but this deep, empty void. Boys, we need the charger, please. Low bat. So, most of you came to us in the hopes of financial freedom. Now, I'll tell you how tricky the ego is. The ego will use any little thing and everything to convince you to stay away from your light, who you really are, your divinity. Even after Don's program, think about how crazy that is. Experiencing this moment of absolute bliss, all knowing, all powerful, boom, here you are without all of your programs. And then, whether it's the next day, or a few weeks later, or a few months later, the ego comes knocking, and it finds something. It finds something to use against you so that now divinity is number 2. And whatever the ego convinced you you need is number 1. I've seen it firsthand. I've experienced it firsthand. Many friends of mine, top entrepreneurs, guys like Sam, made the millions, still empty, had toxic relationships, health problems, yada, yada, goes on and on. It's interesting because I had looked up to all of them. I had put them on a pedestal. They were my role models, right? If I made $1 million in a year, they made 10 million in a year. So they must be good enough. They must be worthy. They must be better than I am. And so these were my mentors. Meanwhile, they had the millions of dollars, but they were in the middle of a divorce, or they hadn't seen their kid for years, or they're in and out of the hospital always sick. So when I went through Don's program and realized this fullness, this pure consciousness of who I really am, I could see everyone's toxic shit. I could see the ego so clearly. And now I was going to all those guys that I looked up to, and I was saying, guys, you need to talk to Don, man. You need to talk to Don. And one by one, they would. And many of them, I have one friend, I'm not going to name him. He was in the middle of a divorce, made millions and millions of dollars, young age, my age. After Don's program, he calls me and he says, I've never experienced that moment of bliss in my entire life. My entire life. Imagine that. And the craziest part is, a few weeks later, after he was all, man, we got to share this with everyone. Couldn't even get a hold of the guy. Still to this day, we've had a rare chat back and forth, and avoids anything to do with Don and the divinity program. He'll talk to me about money, but he won't talk about that one moment he had that saved his marriage and a bunch of other stuff. He was in a huge lawsuit and all this crazy shit. So my point is, whatever it was, whether it was his relationship or his child or his business, that the ego convinced him is number one, that's what the ego does, and it will latch onto it. So here's an example for you, my lovely Incomation. Many people say income nation, right? The money country, basically. Incomation, income automation. And the reason why you want to automate it, so you don't have to fucking think about it anymore, so you can actually realize who you truly are. Okay? That was the intention. But how many people came into this community only looking for the money? And they came in as fast as they went out. As soon as we got real, as soon as we were showing them we have what they really need, they were on to the next crypto pump and dump Ponzi whatevers. Absolutely crazy. But I'll tell you, for me personally, and this is after I was with Don for years, the ego used that one little thing. It said, Jamie, if you can just create some more passive income, you won't even need to focus on work. You and Don can just live happily ever after in the mountains, focusing on your divinity. I thought, awesome, because I had been through over and over again the guys like I was just mentioning that were like, let's share this with the world. And just one of them, the power of their influence would have made the divinity absolutely all over the world. And one after another, they backed out, went back to chasing the money. And it was exhausting. It was really disappointing for me. And the ego used that. So coming back to just last year, the ego says, hey, why don't you just do this financial program? Just, create some passive income so you can focus on the divinity. Oh, great idea, ego. That sounds awesome. Let's do it. So we put together consciousness and currency, right? Which just alone, that's saying that it's at least on the same level. So here the ego was tricking me, saying consciousness and currency are equal, meaning the divinity wasn't number one. And what ended up happening, we had intended to just have these prop firms, have some passive income, help our inner circle, focus on divinity. Next thing you know, we get slammed with 3,000 people from all over the world that want this program, this money, this passive income. And here we are, wild goose chase. And the ego's got us completely distracted. And I'm talking about me, not Don. He's like, you can handle that. Good luck. So here I am rushing around trying to support all of this, and had hundreds of messages, and we had to get up to 80 employees and build 2 offices and go to this country to incorporate there for the taxes and go to this country for the banking and blah, 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 blah. And this last year, I was on this crazy wild goose chase to the point where I almost died. I had a near-death experience last summer when many of you know that I got into a motorcycle crash. That's the ego crash. But it started with just this little opening of me allowing the ego to, yeah, the money is just as important. Let's do that, wrap that up so we can do that. And then boom, 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 slippery slope. Total negative spiral. Next thing you know, for example, I hadn't drank alcohol in 3 years, 4 years. My brother comes to town. Okay, I'll have one beer with you. Well, we all know where that fucking leads, right? Hadn't smoked for 4 years. Oh, we're at the Dubai event and the executives want to have a cigar. Okay, I'll have a cigar. I'll just have one to celebrate. Next thing you know, weeks and weeks of cigars. So I'm telling you that anything that you allow the ego to come in above the divinity, you're absolutely screwed. You're absolutely screwed. So now, every decision I make, every action I take, this is the filter. I ask myself, will this bring me closer to divinity or further away? And now when someone offers me a drink or a cigar or fast food, we had fast food for a few days, like anything. Nope, that's not going to be bringing me closer to divinity. Easy decision. So now coming up to our announcement, a few months ago, I had announced to you as like, hey, we attracted way too much ego energy into this program. Incomation, all about the income, all about the money, right? You put some money in your piggy bank so you feel more free, right? Like, seriously. How many programs and money do you got to chase, like, just to realize that's not the answer, right? But I made an announcement a few months ago that we're going to go consciousness and currency. And I'm telling, and that was me wanting to get away from this is too money focused. This is crazy. This is like out of hand. And again, looking back at that, it's like, wow, that was still the ego getting me to put it on the same level. So now it wasn't putting the money first, divinity second. It was actually going, divinity and money are equally as important. And so, Will, do we have the image for them? So now every single thing we do, divinity is number one. No, the one I sent you in your WhatsApp. First of all, while Will's doing that. Okay, amazing. So this is our new community. I am divinity. So for any of you that are choosing not to put the divinity first, that's okay. It's not going to resonate with you. Let me be clear. We do have the top financial programs that are actually legitimate. But again, it's number two, okay? It's number two. I can't even freaking talk about it anymore. Like day 4, I looked at some, I'm like, man, so bored of just you get the 100% and the 20% and you put them all together and then you make a return and like, seriously. I couldn't handle another call like that. So yes, we have our own banking system coming together. It's just a week or two away. We had to send them the new logos. We said, nope, it's not the Incomation Bank anymore. It's I Am Divinity Bank. And yes, we have our own Forex brokerage. So there's a safe haven there with people of actual integrity because we're not going to make any trade through any broker that we don't know is on this level putting divinity first. They won't have integrity. We've seen it over and over again. So that's divine markets. But again, it's all number two. Yes, we got the crypto fund. You put the crypto coins in and maybe get 1,000% in the year and then feel free. And I love how, man, the numbers are actually going up on today's call. So put a 0 in the chat if you agree with what I'm saying, but a 0. Thank you, Brent. Thank you, Vanessa, Rachel, Gareth, Marty, Powell. Finally, says Rebecca, Linda, David, Tim, Ahmed, Sheila, James. I love you all. Love you all. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, we certainly don't have any competition, do we? Not another divinity on the in the world right now. It's doing what we're doing. It was the other day I told Sam, I'm like, man, like, because again, the ego had us wrapped up. The ego was saying, oh, but everyone's attention's on the money. So if you want them to go through the divinity, you have to talk to them where they're at and share the money first and then offer the divinity as a bonus. And today we're like, no, 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 no. First of all, we're only going to be sharing where we're at. We're not going to be going down to anyone's level. We're going to let them decide to come up to where we are, putting the divinity number 1. And that's it. There's not much more to it. I'm really excited. So it's like, now what do we talk about? So, but first of all, if you haven't been through the divinity process yet, it's in the back office membership portal under I Am Divinity. And it's crazy, but it's absolutely free right now to get in there. So for the next 10 days or so, it's going to be absolutely free. So there's no excuses, because we know the ego is going to use that excuse once we're charging for the program, whether it's $1 million like Don was paid on multiple occasions, or $100. People are going to complain about it. I don't have the $100. Meanwhile, they go out and spend it at the club tonight or whatever. It's just, again, the ego convincing you of all these insane lies. I'll give you another example. Also, I'm not going to name him. Very close friend, multimillionaire. We offered him to come out here. Get this, okay? Millionaire. We offered him to come out here, and he said, oh, I need like a month or 2 to come out because I got to make some money. What? Seriously? You and I literally just, I'm like, dude, like, we'll pay for your flight if that's a real excuse. And then he just laughed, because it's not. Just the bullshit ego stopping you from what you really need. And the examples and the list, the reasons are infinite. You know why? Because the ego uses your own creativity against you, which is infinite creativity, but it's using it in the opposite way to abuse you. So for those of you that have gone through the program, I'm sure you have experienced a little what I'm talking about. After you have this amazing experience, giving it all up to listen to the ego. Can I get a very honest 1 in the chat if you've gone through it and given it up because of the ego? Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Linda, Lori, Vanessa, Wendy, Michael. Yeah. Yeah, it's I see you, James. Man, you did have a powerful experience. So I'm going to share that, James, because our very first group that we did with Don live, took everyone through the program. There was 72 of you from the community on there, and James was front and center. Don used him as an example and had an amazing transformation. It was only about maybe 2 or 3 days later. You can correct me if I'm wrong, James. that James said, man, when's the next one? Because I'm going through like a tornado of shit right now. Like I'm getting attacked. He didn't use those words, but that's what he was saying to me. And that's when I hit up Don, like, we got to do one like within the next 2 weeks here to help everyone out. And so we did. We did one about, James says true, yeah. We did one about 2 weeks later. And guess who was not on the call? Guess who was not on the call? Literally the guy that asked us and instigated the next call wasn't on the call. James wasn't there. Yeah, this guy, he says. Exactly. And I'm sure the ego painted a beautiful, logical, intellectual reason and excuse for James not to be there. But ultimately, that's all it is. It's just bullshit. It's just an excuse. It's that whatever it was, James in this example put that before the divinity. And the ego will use that every single time. You got no chance. You got absolutely no defense against the ego if you allow just a little crack. You crack open the window, next thing you know, there's a flood coming through the walls. Okay. And you can't get away with the same shit you were unconsciously doing before this program, before experiencing your divinity. You're at a much higher level of standard. You're not allowed to go very far without an intense beatdown. It just speeds everything up because you're consciously doing it now. You could claim ignorance before, you can't after. So that's why, and Dawn nailed me with one, man, this is a great example. Last night, I went to Dawn, I said, man, I just tested myself and I know I'm floating under 700, and I've experienced 1,000 on multiple occasions, but I was like, I need to at least get the 700 back. I know I'm under that right now, man. Like, I need your help. So of course, as Don does, he nailed it in about 38 seconds. He found exactly what it was. And it was, get this, okay? This is very clever of the ego. The ego used the mission of raising humanity's consciousness. It used that against me. It had me put the mission number one and my own divinity number two. And here I was, thought I was being absolutely divine by helping the community first and being selfless and doing all these acts that I did. One of them, the Pioneer Fund, like an absolute charity. We had never guaranteed that the prop firms would pay out. Never would have done that. And what did we do when the prop firms blew us off? Said, okay, we'll take our own money here, guys, and we'll put it in a charity for you so that you can get some money from the prop firms, basically guaranteeing that they were, now we guaranteed the payouts. And again, I thought it was because I was coming from integrity, coming from a selfless place, doing it for the mission, helping everyone move forward, which many people chose not to move forward. So that started to bother me because it's like we did this charity thing to help everyone move towards the mission, not so that we could get hit up every 6 weeks from a guy we never heard of. Hey, can I get my charity payout yet? Can I get my charity payout? Like, seriously. So just imagine that. The ego used that against me so that I was putting the mission above my own divinity, which, again, so tricky. The ego had me convinced that if I didn't put the mission first, it would hurt the mission. But you know what hurts the mission? Me not staying at the absolute divine level that I was at. That's what hurts the mission. And I went through the same process with my relationship. The ego had me twisted up to put my partner number one, convincing me that you're going to hurt them if you put yourself number one. If you put, okay, yeah, I got to put the partner number one. Now, what was I doing? Putting divinity number two. And that's the exact thing that hurts my partner, because now I'm going lower in consciousness and allowing the ego to come in and attack us both. So yes, the ego is pretty tricky. And this is coming from someone that, I mean, I've barely let Dawn out of my sight for the last 4 years. And it was still attacking me on all these levels. But I'm telling you, and I'm giving you all this, like I say to Sam, it's funny because Don gave me his 40, it took him 40 years, took me 4 years, and Sam coming in, it took him about 4 hours having this conversation. It's like awesome. That's amazing that he, right? Like he's right there with me now because he's here. But I give you all this so you don't have to do the 4 years. And Don gives you what he does so you don't have to do the 40 years. Right? So I'm telling you, the filter with everything that you decide to do, now that you're conscious and aware of everything, you can't claim the ignorance. Every action you take, if you're seriously committed to being at this highest level, then you need to ask yourself, does this, whatever I'm about to do, bring me closer to divinity or further away? Simple as that. If you integrate that today as a filter with everything you do, so easy. It's so easy to say no to all these things that you know you shouldn't do when you put that filter on, because the ego will trick you, right? Like, for example, with the food we were having. So I had been vegan for 10 years, plant-based, keeping the body pure as much as I could. In the last year, I started playing with eating some meat. And the ego convinced me that I wouldn't be able to go to the gym and have the meat. So if I didn't go to the gym, I didn't need the meat. But if I went to the gym, I needed the meat. So then here I was eating the meat, which then led to the drive-throughs at Jollibee, which then led to, the cigar, and then, all that. They all come together real quick. And so now it's very simple. Is what I'm about to put into my body getting me closer to divinity or further away? Okay, well then now I know the answer. I don't care if it will help me with the gym, which I know is a lie too, because I know many plant-based bodybuilders, whatever's been on that journey for decades. I personally know one of the top, he's won world championships in bodybuilding, and he's been plant-based the whole time. So even with all that experience, the ego still used that to take me out. So that's it. I don't know how many more times I got to say it or how many more ways I got to say it. But if you just put that filter on, it'll save you 4 years in my case, and it will save you 40 years in Don's case. So, what do we do now, Sam? It's like, like if they should do that, then man, we're all flying high, we're all soaring, we're all good. Linda has a question. Okay, let's open it up for questions. I'm sure you guys have some questions. Let's do that. So if you want to unmute yourself or put up your hand, and we'll call on you and ask away.
Well, I was going to ask Jamie, but I think you just answered it. That filter of, will this bring me closer to my divinity or further away, is really the mechanism to, when we notice the ego coming in, to pivot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That, like, literally that nails it. I'm telling you, it took me 4 years to get to that. It was just the other night, 2 nights ago, that Don said it. And I've been around Don for years. And it's like, wow, there it is. That's the piece. And it's been so smooth. And and so easy now after that. Like one example that we were wrestling with before that. So it was literally the night that Don came on. Sam and I were back and forth after the gym, and we were talking about the marketing side, like the messaging to everyone. And Sam was saying like, oh, we gotta like change some of the languaging, like almost water it down so that people would get it, understand it, resonate with it, whatever. And I just intuitively said, no, like that doesn't feel right. Like we need to just, talk from where we're at. And then we get to the house here, the studio, and Don opens up, and one of the first things he says, he literally opens up with, okay, I'm going to share with you where I'm at. And there it was, like, boom. And again, though, putting that filter on, is this going to get me closer to divinity or further away? Even that one little thing of, okay, how do we send the message out to everyone? Right? And do we water it down? Well, would that take us closer to our divinity or further away? Definitely further away. Not going to do that. We're going to talk where we're at, and we'll let the right ones, get called from that place. The no water down method. Yes, Sheila, exactly. Yeah, that one was tough. I was on a call just a couple days ago with like one of the top marketing guru guys that was going to help us with our community, right? And I was trying to explain to him the divinity process, and he's like trying to intellectualize it, and we're going back and forth. And by the end of it, I'm just like, man, like in order for you to be able to help us at all, you're going to need to go through the process, like seriously, or else this is just such a disconnect. But in every way that he could, he was trying to, pin me down, tell me that no, we need to talk to them where they're at here. Like the reason why the flashy cars and the ego stuff works is because that's where they're all at, and that's what you need to do, like to get their attention, like all that, right? I'm just like, nah, this isn't right, and you definitely need to go if you want to work with us. You definitely need to go through the program, or else this isn't going to work. So now any partnership, it's like anyone close to us is okay. Are they willing to go through the program or not? Because if they're not, then just being around them is going to get us further from our divinity instead of closer, right? Like that filter. So yeah, we're pretty all in, as you can see. But what I've discovered in my journey is that you can't leave any room. Like you can't be 99.9% in on your divinity, because the ego will use that 0.1% and rip you apart. And the 0.1% soon becomes 1%, soon becomes 10%, soon becomes 90%. And you wake up being like, where did my divinity go? Like, seriously. So yes, 100%, it needs to be number one. And then all of those things you can have, but in a healthy way, not because your identity is attached to them, not because you're trying to prove anything, not because of any ego reason, but you can have them come and go. And there's absolutely zero attachment to them when the divinity is number one. Because again, it's like, I mean, just to give you that one example of us changing the name from Incomation to I Am Divinity, like to help you understand how much we need to unravel, like the corporations and the bank accounts and the thousands and thousands of dollars in lawyer fees and all of this stuff, right? All the videos we've made, all the content we have from the office with this beautiful signage that we now need to change the signage, like all of that. And if we weren't putting the divinity number one, we'd simply be like, no, that's a lot of work, and we'd lose a lot of money doing that, and so let's just keep the name. But because will changing the name to I Am Divinity bring us closer to our divinity or further away? Oh, well, that's an obvious one. So don't care what it takes, right? Take all the money, do all the work, do whatever you got to do, because that's all number two. And we don't have an attachment to it when divinity is number one. You got it, Linda? Yeah, Linda gets it. It's funny, I always lose words and then we have like another fire hose come out. I don't know, whatever. But I'm saying the same shit. But yeah, sometimes it, like I said, I've been around Don for years, and I don't know when he, fully embodied that. But just that one night, a few nights ago, that one sentence that he said, boom, it hit me. Like I got it just from that one. So sometimes you need to hear it at different times or different ways or whatever. But yeah, I'm really excited for all of you that are getting it, because I mean, Dr. Hawkins says one person at this level impacts the entire world. Imagine having 10, 100, 1,000 of us all linking arms, this just intense army of light. Oh, cool. Don and I traveled around after we left Mexico. That's where we started together. He was in Vancouver. I was in Mexico. Went to Vancouver, did the program, brought him down to Mexico real quick after that. And we started doing stuff out of the studio. And then one day I go to Don. I said, Don, we're going on a world tour. And he said, okay, when? And this was, I think it was Wednesday. And I said, be ready Friday. And he's, okay. He didn't ask any questions, where we're going, nothing like that. I didn't even really know. It was just like, okay, we're just gonna go and we're gonna go from there. And then I come back to him later on that day. I said, oh yeah, and by the way, we can only take a backpack. And he had just moved like his Tour de France bike from Canada down to Mexico. Like, like it was like a $10,000 bike or something, and a bunch of other things. And like his whole wardrobes, he had like 30 plus shoes and all of this. And I'm within 48 hours, I'm getting him down to a backpack. And then it was Friday, and I said, "Oh," he said, "Okay, when are we going?" And I said, 6 o'clock tonight. And I had just about an hour before that found the very first place we were going to go to. It was Culiacan, Mexico. And so here we went with our backpacks and pink and purple clothes and a couple of consciousness carts, in like laminated like little cards. And we're just like, let's see where this goes. We went all over Mexico, and then we went down to Guatemala. Mind you, this was 2021 when all of the lockdowns were like full effect, max effect. Like barely any countries were even opening, and you had to do the whole, you got to do your negative COVID test, you got to show the proof of your vax and all of this stuff. And we were able to get all that from some Mexican doctor, which was great. and now here we are, Guatemala border. Okay, we're going across with like we took a bus right to the border from the city, and there was this like tricycle guy, like a tuk-tuk type thing that would drive you from where the like the end of the border was to crossing the border. So we're crossing the border, me and Don in our pink and purple with our backpacks in this tuk-tuk. And we get to the border. It's like this old bridge going in from Mexico to Guatemala. And I'm just going to share this because it happened. Okay. I don't know who's going to see it. I don't know who's going to censor us. I don't know what. I don't care. So we get to the border and they go, oh, do you have your negative COVID test? I'm like, oh, well, like we got our vaccine proof. I thought that was good enough. Oh, no, you need to go back. You need to get a negative COVID test, blah, blah, blah. We're like, really? Like, and finally, like, the guy goes, okay, hold on. And he goes and gets whatever the person there at the border, like Ministry of Health, I don't know what the heck their title is. They come up to us and they straight just ask us how much cash we have. thinking, okay, well, this is a solution. So yeah, we got a little bit like, how much do you want? And we go back and forth, and next thing you know, I don't know what the end. It was in their currency. I don't know what it ended up being, like maybe $100, something about that. And now we're crossing the Guatemala border in another tuk-tuk that the Guatemalan guy had to take us in. It's like absolutely crazy. But that was fun to share. But I wanted to share it because everywhere we went, I mean, we would go into the malls, and and these local families would come up to us. And I remember one time this mother had just given birth, like infant in her arms, and she literally passes her newborn baby to Dawn and asks if they can take a picture of us with her baby. Like, absolutely wild. And there's endless of those stories. But the reason I share it is because of how powerful it was, just the two of us, and the light that we shined everywhere we went. I can only imagine when there's however big our group is. I mean, anywhere we go, and as you fully embody it and you bring your inner circle into it, and I mean, that's just the most powerful thing that, number one, you could do for yourself, number two, you could do for anyone around you, and number three, what you could do for the entire world. The ripple effect of that is absolutely insane compared to, hey guys, we made $1,000 last month. You want to make $1,000 too? Like, that's not going to go very far. So yes, very, very excited. On that with the inner circle, I will tell you, I mean, the journey's hard enough on your own, but if you're in any type of relationship, and some of you may have experienced this, you go through the program. Okay, let's say you were at 300, even 400 before the program, and now boom, right? Where, remember, Dr. Hawkins says the average person only raises 5 points on the consciousness scale in a lifetime. And you're going hundreds of points in a moment. Okay? Do you think that's going to freak some people out? Do you think they're going to look at you like, what in the fuck just happened to you? Well, if you don't know that already, I'm here to tell you that's absolutely what's going to happen. Guaranteed. And here's the problem. You discovered the process. You know now how to go there. They do not. They do not know how to get there. So the only thing that they can do, unconsciously or consciously, if they want to stay in relationship with you, is bring you back down. That's the only tool they have to be able to relate. So that may be heavy for some of you, and some of you I see shaking your heads because you know what I'm talking about. So I encourage you, if you're going through this, I mean, it's mandatory for at least your partner to go through it. Like, good luck having a relationship anymore. One of you here, one of you went here. Good luck. I know I attempted a few times before I found the one that was willing to go there. And I had given it up. I've given mine up many a times for those past relationships, dragging them, trying to drag them through. Like, I'll do whatever. You know, come on, we got to go to the finish line here. We got to go to the divinity. That was tough. But I encourage you to have that heart to heart with your partner if you haven't already. And again, I mean, the program is sitting there in the portal for you. Like take advantage of that, please. And share it with them. And then whoever you are close with that you truly care about, I mean, I'm telling you, there is not one thing in the world that you could do to help them more than to bring them through this program? I just know that to be true. I mean, can you give me any example? There, I could give my younger brother, who alcoholic, drug addict. This is how bad it is. He goes and sees his father, my stepdad, and his father will do meth with my younger brother. Talk about toxic. He's in and out of rehab. I brought him out here in the Philippines to go through Don's program. I know he would have killed himself if he didn't do that. It got him off all those hard drugs. But he went back to Canada and he hung out with some of the crowd he'd been with before. And now he's justifying that he's smoking weed every day, and it's just a plant, it's not really a drug, and and yeah, I drink here and there, but not a big deal because I'm going to school. Well, I'm telling you, I couldn't do anything better for my brother than to connect him with Don to go through the program, because imagine even if I sent him $1 million. Here, bro, you're financially set. Guess what he's gonna do? Yeah, he's gonna use it for fuel for all of that ego shit. I mean, he's gonna have probably a whole, what do you call them? When you grow the weed, what do they call? Grow up? Yeah, he's gonna like have a grow up. He'd probably like buy a bar, and then he's just like knee deep in his alcohol and weed program with the money. So what else can we give? What else can we give that's actually going to help them? If the money doesn't do it, it actually hurts them. Anyone that's had a family member on drugs or anything knows that if you give them money, I mean, you know where it's going, and it's only going to hurt them. And as much as you want to help them, the best thing that you can do to help them is say, no, I'm not giving you anything. Right? So I don't know. In my whole journey, I've never found anything that is more powerful to gift yourself, number one, but everyone you know. Like, why would you? I have literally told every person, and some of them, like I said, dragged them as much as I could. Okay, I've paid for their flights to come out. I've covered Don's fee for the program. Like, I've done it all to help them go through this process. I mean, I've given it away totally for free to the whole community here, right? Like, come on. And I don't know another gift that I could give someone that would be even remotely close. Even remotely. Like, what else would I give them? When all they would do staying in those toxic patterns is just amplify whatever I gave them into that. Like, there's literally nothing. So I trust you take that to heart, to take it seriously, number one, for yourself, but also if you've shied away from sharing it with anyone that you actually care about. I mean, seriously. So yeah, I don't I think when I first went through the program, I mean, every day I was slamming posts to all my Facebook friends. I was messaging everyone, like, you gotta meet Don, Sam was one of them. We never even met in person. Yeah, it was just like, if he's on my friend line in Facebook, if he's one of my followers on Instagram, he's getting nailed with, you need to meet Don. You need to know about this program. So how else am I going to help you? And luckily Sam was one of those that was like, he didn't know me from anything. All he had seen is about it maybe a year of how my whole energy and tone shifted online, right? If anyone was following me before Don, they saw like undeniable evidence that whatever this Don guy has works. And but so crazy to even think of how many people just told me to get away with them from that. I had like good close friends of mine be like, don't you ever bring up that guy's name again. And that was without them even knowing much about the process, but the ego intuitively knows that it's going to die in this process. Like there's not really a way to hide that. The ego knows. So yeah, I mean, I've told everyone. So now it's up to you guys. Like, seriously, pass on the baton. And we're here. We're creating all the support systems you need, all the things that I didn't have, right? I had Dawn, but there was many things in my journey that like Dawn wasn't there, not even close. So I had to go through all the little wormholes, all the trial and errors, and that's why it took me 4 years. And that's why it took Sam about 4 hours, right? When he got here. So anyway,
Jamie,
Dan, hey, great to see you.
you know what they say? There's a saying that, are you singing to the choir?
I hope so.
I get it. So I raised my hand earlier and took it down because I thought you had more to say, and I wasn't wrong. So I had my observation from yesterday to today. I think you had a good night's sleep.
Thank you, sir.
True?
That was
There's a lot of processing from yesterday to today that you did.
well, actually it was deeper than sleep, Dan.
Okay,
So
okay.
that would be
Because
surface level.
I'm picking it up and laying it down like 1,000 times over.
So for me, it was that one piece Don called me on in about 38 seconds.
Okay.
And then this decision to put the divinity number one. So as most of you know, going through that, Don asked you to do that exercise, that divine focus, right? And as I was putting the mission number one, I was making less and less time for that divine focus exercise for myself, right? Because I was putting everyone
Is
else
that
first.
something between the two of you, or was that public knowledge?
Yeah, that's
Divine
public through his program. So he mentions there the holding exercise, right? So you do the I am, the anchor, yeah, and then you focus
Okay,
on that. Yes, sir.
so one thing I've noticed, and maybe like when I'm doing this, maybe this is, it feels like I'm getting more resonance than doing this. I don't know if I'm whatever.
Yeah, somatics. I mean, I don't even use the anchor anymore. But to me, the first thing that comes is that's just the ego messing with you, saying you're not doing it right. You know, it
I
doesn't.
just feel vibrations, but I feel it anyhow. That could be semantics. So
Yeah,
I had a
It's true.
business.
It's true story. I only have one hand. I actually can't do that, and it did work. You know, for the first couple of days that I did it before ego got in the way.
Oh,
So
okay. Okay.
attaboy, James. Great to see you, man. Yeah,
So I have
hey,
a bit.
if James can do it with one with one hand, I mean,
I wonder. Okay, gotcha.
and
So
like
I
I
had a
said, I don't even do that anymore. For me, it's just I'm recalling my absolute highest state, the feeling of that, right? So if any of you have done traditional meditation, a lot of that comes with mantras and you're thinking like what to focus on. That's not it. It's the feeling, that state. That's what you're looking for. And that
so
is where I start the focus. That's like my the foundation, the beginning point, and then I'm just infinitely sending the energy and expanding it further than that.
can you respond to Linda's chat?
Yeah, of course.
I'm not sure what she means there.
Uh,
Can you please finish?
Dawn's exercise. Yes. Oh, okay. She's just asking what the exercise is, I think, right, Linda?
Yeah, you were talking about it and then we didn't get to finish. So
Yeah. So you're recalling your highest state, which for many of you is going to be that moment that you first did the process, right? Where you blew the balloon, got rid of all the shit, the anchor, and boom, you're in that state. So you're going to recall that feeling. So don't worry about the words, the languaging, the music, the anchor, like none of it is as important as that divinity state that you're focused on to be. And then that's the starting point. And just allow your heart to infinitely expand, and that I just focus on sending out, like increasing that feeling, that energy. And you hold that. The reason why you're holding that is because your cellular muscles have to get strong, right? You're going from wherever you were at to now this much higher level of vibration. And so there is that process, and that's why Don gives you that anchor. So you put your fingers together, I am, and just recall that feeling. That's the most important part.
Okay. I just want
And
to
so,
make sure that that's what I had. And there's the ego again, right? Trying to mess me
yes,
up.
yes, exactly. Making sure you're doing it right, and
Right?
you messed it
So,
up.
so one of the things that has helped me is rather than use the word feelings, because sometimes I'm not, oh, get away from the feelings, but I say, what about something called you? I love the word sensation. I'm sensation. So I'm sensational. So I just want to go back to this business question. Do we make a difference between crypto and Forex? Why are you laughing?
Dan, that was like a perfect display of the ego of how it works, right? I literally just said, like, don't worry about the languaging, don't worry about any of that. And then you literally were like, the languaging, though, of the feeling to sensation. And then can we bring it back to the money?
I can be your
So,
guinea pig.
yeah. So respectfully, Dan, Forex and crypto are different, but they're both money, and we've got them figured out, and they're in the back office. That's it.
Do I need to make a decision on that?
Yeah, it sounds to me, and respectfully, because I have been where I'm sensing you're at,
Yeah,
which is putting the intellect, and that along with that comes the money. So you can
right, right, right.
you go intellect, you can go money, go whatever. You're putting that number one still. So
Oh well, I I I got that from another person, so I'm asking the question. I didn't even know it was there.
okay, all good.
So, but should I not even ask that question then? I guess. I don't know.
No, and
Just send you the money.
again, Dan, that's just the ego messing around. So we have the descriptions in the back office of the Forex and crypto.
All
And
right, I'll go
do
look
it.
again.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Make sure you put divinity number one, all right, Dan?
I'm on
Your choice.
Ray.
Sorry, free will. Free will.
I'm on
But
Ray. I'm on Ray.
suggestion only. You do have free will. That is the beauty of this whole setup. If we didn't have free will, we wouldn't have to talk about for 2 hours how to get around the ego. It would just be, a natural, easy process. So I trust that those of you that are still with us got exactly what you needed, heard exactly what you needed. Really grateful for all of you. Just know that we're all in this together, except from now on, I'm putting my divinity number one, and you guys are number two. Just so you know, just to be clear. And I encourage you to do the exact same thing. And all of us together banding, our hearts, and it's really exciting how strong this is going to be, and what a powerful impact it's going to be on this world. It's exactly what is needed. And to leave you with so Don's original vision of raising humanity's consciousness from where it's at right now, 210 roughly. The whole world is around 210 out of 1,000. And Don's vision was to raise all of humanity's to 700. And the by the way, we've made amazing progress on that because as Dr. Hawkins did in his research, we found it in his I versus I? He wrote a book that's not very popular, I versus I, and we listened to it in Mexico. We got this download from Hawkins that was saying exactly how many people at each level counteracts the whole. It was fascinating. So I'll give you just the couple that I can recall. One person at 700 counteracts 70 million. 70 million at the lower vibrations. One person at 700. So, me being in money my whole life, I quickly just did the math and said, Don, we need 114 at 700 to counteract 8 billion. 114. And man, we were relieved to receive that at the time because 114 wasn't as daunting of a task as we were imagining it to be before that. So 114 of us at 700 counteracts the entire population. And the reason why it's the solution, you can't find another better solution on the planet, as I mentioned before, to help anyone. But let's talk about the world for a second. The solution to the world is to raise the entire world's energy out of the ego, the whole collective. I see Linda's getting God bumps. We call the goosebumps God bumps. The whole so imagine all of the lack of integrity, all of the scamming that many of you have experienced in the financial realm, the wars, the terror, the whatevers, the COVIDs, the viruses, all of it cannot exist at the level of 700. It's literally the solution to everything. But the kicker is 114 of us need to put our divinity number one so that everyone else can get there. Are you with me? Put 114 in the chat if you're one of the 114. We got to count those after. That's a lot. Thank you. Vanessa, Tim, Linda, James. Amazing. Come on, Dan, where you at? Just bugging you. Marty, awesome.
I
Lauren.
put it in there. I put it in there, dude.
Okay, just checking. I'm just teasing you, Dan.
You just dropped me a point.
I just dropped him a point. He says, Jewel. Oh man, I'm so excited. So, number one, first thing we need to do, we have a support group for I Am Divinity in Telegram. So all of you need to make sure that you're in that support group so that we can feed each other everything every day in that support group. Okay. Now we're gonna, however long it takes, however much work needs to be done to transition the whole community of Incomation into that. That's what we're working on. But for those of you that are with us now on the leading edge, we're gonna put all of our energy into that I Am Divinity group. And whoever comes, awesome. And whoever doesn't, all good, free will. They'll be one of the 8 billion that shift because of us. They'll just wake up one day and think, what happened? Oh, I'm feeling healthy. Weird. Wow, I feel so good. Don't know what happened. Super excited. Sam, you want to come on and okay, we'll drop the Telegram link in the chat here so you guys can jump on that. Sam can come on and share any closing remarks. I trust all your questions were answered. And we'll continue tomorrow. We ain't stopping. The ego will go, but the algorithms of the social media should just do like one a week, not one a day. No, we're coming in here every day. We don't even know what to say anymore, but we're gonna say it. We're going to say the same thing in infinite different amount of ways, using our divinity's creativity to do this fire hose.
It's funny
every day.
because whenever we were just getting started, I'm like, oh, we need to create a framework, this and that. And then now we just come on here like 5 minutes before we put on our nice fancy suits and we just start speaking from the heart. So there's not really much I want to say except that I'm excited, I'm elated to be with you all that chose to be one of the 114 because this mission needs people with big hearts. And I know you're probably wondering, like, what about the money and what about the crypto and the forex? And it's automated anyways. Do you really need to know anything about it other than the fact that you know you're divine? So, with that being said, thank you all for being here. I don't really have much more to say after all that. I'm still digesting what Jamie just said. So,
well, let me say one thing about Sam. Every single one of you need to find a Sam in your life because it's so refreshing having anyone in your inner circle that is just as committed as you are to put divinity number one. Like, absolute game changer. That's why I stayed with Don so long, and that's why I'm so excited to have Sam here. And that's why I know he ain't leaving because he's so excited to be here.
I mean, I literally in 3 days I told him I'm moving to the Philippines, and I told him I was changing my last name. So, like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how much more committed?
Yeah, he's officially going to be divine soon. He's just going through the process in America. Yeah. By the way, my last name wasn't divine until after I did Don's program, and in Canada, it was very simple. I had to pay a $139 application fee for a name change registration, and I had to go down to the local police to do a fingerprints so that they knew I wasn't a criminal just trying to change my name. So after those two things, boom, new birth certificate, like everything, new bank accounts, all passport, all of it came after that. Amazing. I'm sure you could find the process in if you choose. That's not part of the program.
Yeah. It's not trying to initiate you into a cult. I promise you that was my own will.
Yeah, I didn't make that suggestion, but
I literally just like, let's do it.
Just letting you know how easy it is, and it made so much sense for me. I was like, I mean, people get, and again, that's the ego. Like, I gotta make a name for myself, and leave a legacy and all that. I'm like, nah, man. And it was easy for me because I didn't grow up without my father, and every stepdad I had like abused me. So I mean, I didn't have any attachment to any names, but it was very easy to be like, oh, divine. I mean, that's if anyone's my father, if anyone deserves, me to carry the last name, it's divine. It's the divinity. So there you all go. Thanks for being with us.
We hope to see you on Divinity Island.
And Nua must be busy packing his bags because Nua has a flight. For those of you that have met Nua on the last couple of calls, remember I called him out about 4 calls ago, and he said, "Man, I would be in the Philippines tomorrow." And I said, "Oh, really? Really? We're okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see if that unfolds." And then it was a couple days later that he just had such a heart share, just like just poured out the whole community, just jumping on. We didn't plan it or anything. And live on the call, I said, "Nua, man, you just earned yourself a flight to the Philippines. So if you're still serious about coming, we're taking care of your flight." And he just broke down in tears, bawling and crying, and went back to his wife and his 5 kids and said, "I'm going to the Philippines." I asked them, he did, for a one-way ticket. So I don't know when I'll be back. Imagine explaining that to your wife and 5 kids. So anyway, we got him a flight. He's on his way Saturday US time. He'll be landing in Manila Monday morning. So yeah, you'll see Nua live in the next couple, anyways, next week. So anyway, super. And Tim, you got to come to the Philippines, man. We need to have. You got to see, dude. The world's largest arena is just getting finished built in the Philippines. Look it up. It's called King Dome Arena, world's largest. And we're pushing everything to do an event there in April when it opens, so we could be the first event. And we want you doing the live performance. I don't care what we need, the smokes and the
I'll
fires
be
and
there, man. I'll be there. I'll be there. No
Okay.
problem.
All right, you
I'm
heard it
all
here.
in. I'm all in.
Let's go.
Everyone's got to hold Tim accountable now. No, I know he's not going to back down from that. That's awesome, man. Well,
Just a quick shout out to Will.
yeah, the team behind the scenes. We got Joel
We got
here
Joel
now.
here.
He's working the camera. He's following us around all the time now with this camera, just playing, because we're like, man, you got to catch some of these moments. Like every time something comes up, we're like, oh, well, where's the camera? So literally, we have a camera. It's right here. Joel, why don't you just come say hi?
Say hi to
So
everyone.
Joel just quit everything he was doing, all the projects, everything he was freelancing on the last couple of days, and now he's with us full time. He's not going anywhere else. He's coming to the gym with us. Like he's following us around, and yeah, we're just going to share everything that's happening, just as we do. But this is going to be the behind the scenes. It's going to be fun, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. It kind of looks like Linda wanted to say something. I'm not sure, but
Are we going to do an onboard thing for
yes.
anyone that needs tech help? We can do that.
We'll have an onboarding call here in just a moment. Can you drop that link, Will?
So in 20 minutes, we'll do a tech support call if any of you need help getting in the portal or whatever. Finding your link to share it with others, anything you need, he'll help you with the tech. And Dan, going back to what you said about, did you get a good night's sleep last night? Well, for the first time in a long time, I put my divine focus #1, my divinity #1. So I didn't wake up and get right to helping everyone out with all their support questions. I did over an hour of my divine focus. I'm trying to catch up to Don. I swear he's 24/7 now, but
I slept
That was
10
it.
hours. I slept 10 hours straight last night.
Awesome, man. Well,
And I had these incredible dreams to be I don't know, just beautiful. I'm trying to figure out how to get somebody invited into the Infinity group so my ego mind can't figure it out.
okay, Will help you out, bud. So in 20 minutes, he just dropped the link to onboarding.
But when I go into the Infinity group, normally I can like hit an invite and invite people, so I'm having a challenge there.
Okay, he'll help you out. All good.
Okay, drop it.
Yes, did you drop the
To
onboard?
link.
Yeah. All right.
Yep, it's there.
Hey, Tim, by the way, I know you invited Don to be on the stage at the Grammys, but Don and I are a package deal, man. I ain't going anywhere without.
That's okay. We're gonna have our warm up in April. It sounds like that. The visualization I've had for the last few years of this massive event. It sounds like it's all becoming a reality right now.
Yes, it is. What were we saying? The Freddie Mercury meets
That's
the
right.
whatever.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. It's gonna be like Freddie Mercury at Live Aid, baby.
Yeah, so with the divinity, super exciting.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's one guy that could have used the program. Damn.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here, Tim. That was an honor to have you live. There was something with your mic or maybe the Zoom audio. I don't know.
Yeah, I just changed the settings. There's a live performance setting now, so I think that's what it was. But
Okay,
anyways,
cool. So
the energy was there.
yes, it was. And does that mean you're going to be here tomorrow with us to open up?
Sure, let's do it.
Awesome, man. Thank you. I won't hold you to it if you have something, but hey,
Oh no.
we all got to put divinity #1, don't we?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
All right, my friend. Thank you.
3 times a day.
Yes. Yes. 3 times a day. So right when you wake up, that divine focus, middle of the day, and right before you go to sleep. Those are the 3 times you need. And Don goes over that in the program. But yeah, super, because again, the ego will, oh, well, you don't have to do the middle of the day one. You know, you got too much going on now because there's so much flowing after you're in your divinity.
That's the key. You don't do that, you slip real fast.
Oh man, it gets you. It gets you
Yeah.
real quick. Yeah. All right, everyone. Have an amazing day for most of you. We'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. Thanks for being with us. And if you need tech help, we'll drop the link and you'll be there in about 20 minutes.
All right.